I'm here with Goldenglue following a defeat at the hands of FlyQuest. Despite the loss, you guys showed signs of life and put up a pretty good fight. How do you feel about your play individually in that series against FlyQuest?
Individually, I think I could have played a little bit better. I was a little over-aggressive and flashing in for kills when I needed to play a little safer. And I think that would have made game one a little bit easier to win. But overall, I think I did pretty well. But definitely things to improve on and a little bit too much aggression.
Is it sometimes hard to find exactly like what caused like an initial mistake individually in the midst of this, gigantic basically 5v5 game of chess, or do you usually find it pretty easy to be like, oh, I could have done something better there, could have done something better there?
Well, generally it's like it's really easy to point out like mistakes, like, oh, that person should have flashed this way, or that person should have landed like his skill shot. But it's a lot harder when you come back and you think about like why you made that decision, because you have to go back into the moment and think like, why did I flash that way? Why did I throw my skill shot in this direction? You just kind of have to take a step back, and it's usually a little bit harder to tell what the underlying problem is, but it's still doable. It kind of just depends on what mistake you made.
The mid lane meta is pretty wide open right now. We're seeing AD carries, we're seeing mages, we're seing Galio, we're seeing some assassin play still. What do you think it can attribute to this wide open mid lane meta that we're experiencing, and also what do you like about it best?
I would just say the game's like pretty well balanced around mid lane. I think you can play a lot of different styles based on like what your team's strengths and weaknesses are, and I think it's pretty well balanced. There's a lot of matchups that are pretty even. And I think a lot of players just are pretty good at playing defensive. So even if they're playing like weird champions, it's kind of like you can't really pressure them because they're just playing defensive, and it's a lot harder, to aggress on someone who's playing defensive and just farming it and scaling. So I think it's basically the players are good enough that they can't really get rolled over, and that the game is just pretty balanced right now for mid lane.
Something that people may not know, you in between spring and summer went to sort of like a one-person sort of Korean boot camp to improve your play. When you were there, what were you looking to work on in terms of like what goals you were trying to accomplish, and in terms of the things that you did accomplish, how are you carrying them over to the stage this summer?
Yeah, so when I went to Korea, one of the biggest things I wanted to work on was doing damage in team fights and playing aggressive in team fights, and just doing a lot of damage in game, because last season my damage wasn't that good and I wasn't carrying fights like a carry should. So I tried to address a lot of those problems. I tried to pick team fighters and pick skirmishers, and I played a lot. I played like 16 games a day on average over like 5 weeks. So I just put in a lot of work, and I think now during the season, it's definitely paying off and showing that I can I can play more selfishly, I can do more damage, and it's just a lot more. It's kind of like I put in the work, and now I just need to keep up and maintain my level of play and fix small things.
Outside of the higher level of play overall in solo queue, is there anything else about boot camping in Korea that helps you as a player?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of psychological things that helped me when I went there. I went alone to a foreign country for 5 weeks. I think that's kind of where I don't speak the language. I think that's kind of a unique experience. And it kind of, you just wake up every day and like, I'm here for a purpose. I have a reason I'm here. And it kind of motivates you even more to practice harder, put in more hours, and just improve.
You are currently one of 2 mid laners employed by Team Liquid, Slushy being the other mid laner. Can you speak about how the dynamic is between you two as mid laners? Is it very like separate, or are you guys talking about the game with each other, or is it like more of a 10-man, everybody talking about all the same things at the same time?
I'd say me and Sushi are really close. We constantly talk about the game. If one of us scrimming, another one's watching, and then we'll give each other feedback after the game. And me and him, like, we hang out a lot. We're good friends because we were kind of on a team together, also on Team 8 way back when I subbed in for him when he had to leave. So we already have a pretty good relationship, and we'll just, even outside of the game, we'll hang out, we'll eat together, we'll talk about stuff. We go to the gym a lot together, so we worked really well together, and it helps improve both of us.
When you are not the starter for a game, and maybe you're sitting out while Slushy is playing a game, what do you find the most helpful thing that you can do, kind of off the rift, for your teammates?
For like watching LCS games?
Yeah, like in between games, like when you bring it back into the huddle, like what are you usually looking for? Is it just individual mistakes per person, or is there Is there a different focus that you have going into those discussions from off the bench, so to speak?
Yeah, when I would say like the things I kind of try to help him out with when I'm watching from the bench is I try to find things in his play that weren't obvious mistakes that he already knew. So maybe like buying an extra pink ward or warding in a different location or going a different build path. I try to get like small, minute things that you can easily pick up rather than, if someone makes a mistake, they generally already know. So I try to just help them out with the small things.
Your coach, Coach Cain, has been with you guys for a majority of the split now. What has it been like playing under him?
Oh, I love working with Cain. He's a really good coach, and he gives me a lot of confidence in myself, and he's really good at picking up at the mistakes that I make, and good at seeing the big picture of things. So it's been a pleasure working with him.
There was a comment made by Immortals coach Song about 3 weeks ago saying that more Korean coaches in North America and LCS would improve the infrastructure and the level of play by a strong margin.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that there's a difference in the Korean coaching style compared to a North American coach, stylistically speaking?
Yeah, I would say North American coaches don't necessarily really have a style yet. I don't really think of North American coaches as like having a distinct style to their like region, where
Okay.
Korean coaches I think have the style of being really disciplined. They want their players to work really hard, and they don't tolerate like big mistakes or players not working hard. So I think it is trending in the right direction. I don't necessarily think that North American coaches can't pick up the same thing and have the same style, and maybe they can even relate to the players more. But having Korean coaches, especially when you have Korean players on your team, I think it's pretty good for the atmosphere.
As someone who is a North American LCS player yourself, who is obviously a big believer in the benefits of the Korean scene and the Korean infrastructure, considering that you went over there to Bootcamp, what do you think the North American scene needs to improve on most to kind of match that infrastructural like powerhouse that Korean teams have?
I think honestly we just need more time. I think the longer that League of Legends is an esport, basically we have more time to like close the gap, because there's definitely a gap in just the standard Korean team, how they play with an advantage. They play it much more strategically, and it's not really random plays in game. Where North American teams, even like the best teams, still have that happen a lot. And I think it really is just kind of thing where you just need more time, and I think with franchising coming up in North America and more talent being brought in and working together to practice harder, I think that could help a lot. But I don't think there's like a clear thing that you can just put in and then North America will be equal or greater than Korea.
It's going to take time.
Yeah.
All right, well, Goldenglue, thank you so much for the interview. Much appreciated. Is there anything that you'd like to say to the TL fan base?
Thanks for supporting us. We're having a pretty rough split right now, but I'm optimistic about the future, and I appreciate everything you guys have done for us.
Well, we look forward to seeing you guys continue to improve. For everything else at LCS, feel free to hit that subscribe button below. And for anything else League of Legends Esports, you can head to caliber.gg.